Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this afternoon lunch session. So, good afternoon. I'd say we started 13 hours, guys. I'm sorry. We had a simple technical hiccup, but here we are. Tonight, this afternoon session is going to be a personal one, and I hope that you guys are all right. Please, as usual, guys, give me some feedback. Let me know where you're watching me from. That would be quite fantastic. Let me know. I always appreciate if you people tell me, uh, uh, where you're watching us from. It's always fantastic. It's always nice to know that people are watching you from a certain area, certain location. So, guys, good afternoon. And how are you? Where are you watching me from? That would be quite fantastic to know. But also, most importantly, I would like to know, I'd like to see your comments, whether you can hear me or not. That would be very, very helpful. And I want to say that let me type this in the comments. For students who will watch, who will participate to the end, will win themselves sponsorship, right? Sponsorship, of course, in chartered accountants courses, right? So I'll be happy to give you some sponsorship if you can demonstrate that you're going to be there up to the end. Okay. So for students who participate all the way to the end, guys, you have a chance to win yourself some sponsorship in the chartered accountants courses. So guys, I want to say thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. How are you? And I would be grateful if you can tell me whether you can hear me or not. It's always nice for me to know if you guys can hear me, so that I know how we are moving. All right. But I want to tell you guys, I'm very grateful that you are here, and I'll be happy to give some sponsorship to some students. We need to give about 10 sponsorship to about 10 students. So you have to participate at every given slide. Give a comment. All right. So give to win. All right. To win your sponsorship. Let me just say, to win your sponsorship, you must give a lesson, right? Give a lesson at every slide. Give a lesson at each slide, all right? So I have slides here. So give lessons on each slide, right? Give lessons at each slide. What are you going to learn at each slide is very important. So I want you to tell me at each slide, what have you learned at each slide, so that you may be able to win yourself some sponsorship. So guys, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here this afternoon, and I want to tell you a story in hope. Today, we're looking at the lessons we can learn from the life of an eagle. That's the most important part for this particular afternoon. All right. So tell me, guys, am I loud and clear? Please, guys, tell me. Just somebody give me a comment if I'm loud and clear. I'm looking at my phone to just see if there's a comment there. All right, so there we go. So let's begin. Yes, thank you very much. I see that loud and clear. Fantastic. All right, so guys, let's begin. Today we'll look at a very important lesson in hope. We are going to use the ego as an example to help us understand lessons that come with being hopeful. A lot of business lessons. All right. So to start with here, I want to tell you guys that hope is a beautiful thing. There is power in being hopeful. There's power in being hopeful. So my name is Chadwick. All right. I'm a chartered accountant and chief executive for FSB. All right. So this afternoon, I want to share with you guys a few lessons in hope. I want to begin by telling you my father's story. When my dad was about to die, he was very sick at this point. So he caused me to go inside the house. right? You know, when your dad is sick at home, the story is different, okay? The atmosphere is different. But this particular time when my father was sick, it was different because it was going to change our lives. So he calls me inside the house and he asked me to close the door. So as I sat with him, he looks at me and he tells me, not in so many words, and he says, "My son, I'm dying." Those were the words of my father to me. I was 13 years old. I was only in grade 7. And then I'm sitting in front of my father. He's sick. And he tells me that, "My son, I'm dying." "Yes, my friend, I'll be coming soon." So I'm thinking, my father is going to die. So I will have no father to look up to. All right? I'm going to be an orphan. Because my father is sure it is dying. So he makes it known to me and he tells me, "You are going to live with other people. Be obedient to them. Life will not always be the way you've always lived with me." And then he says, "Mwikala patalala, mwina patalika." I was quite young. I didn't even know what that meant. All right. So now you can imagine, every child's dream is to grow up seeing your father, is to grow up to come and have a job, so that you can be able to share a few coins with your dad, your mom. But my father tells me he's about to die. I'm 13 years old. I'm terrified. What do you do when you're 13 and your dad tells you that I'm going to die? So I was traumatized for a very long time. Up to this day, sometimes when I think about it, I still relive the moment. But I may have forgotten some of the things. But one thing I've never forgotten was the look on my father's face when he told me that, "My son, I'm dying." I've never forgotten that look. I remember that as if it was yesterday. Because I could see the pain in his eyes. I know the man was in pain. Even I saw how he struggled to just tell me that he was going to die. He was sure I was going to die. All right? So it was very painful. And now he tells me that don't tell anyone. So I never told anybody about what he told me for years. Up until this year. That's when I talked about this for many, many years. Over 15 years, I've never talked to anybody about that day. I became bitter. I became angry and terrified. When my father died, I couldn't cry. I was still in shock. I never believed it. It was one of the most traumatizing moments of my life. So what I'm trying to bring to your attention here, guys, is that there is power in being hopeful that things will get better. My dad, at that particular time, he had lost hope. He was sure that he was going to die. And he makes it known to me. Sometimes I wish he had more hope. Maybe things would have been different. So when you lose hope, life loses meaning. Because we live for something, we hope for the better, we hope for the future. God has put something in us that makes us to hope for better. There's something in us that makes us to do good things, that makes us to want to try, because we are always naturally hopeful beings. But hope is built. And because we are human beings, sometimes we lose that hope for the better and we just begin to live life and wait for the day we're going to die. A lot of people have lost hope in life. They just say, what comes, comes. It's okay. All right. So I bring to you a story about an eagle so that I can share lessons in hope. And I'm going to be referring to my father's story when he was sick and he tells me that, "My son, I'm dying." So guys, what can we learn from an eagle about hope that can help us in our businesses? What can we learn from this amazing creature about hope? Now, my mission, guys, is to help people easily create businesses that will not only stand the test of time, but also lead to financial freedom. Right? Because more often than not, I've noticed that we take for granted lessons we can learn from creatures such as an eagle, lions, hyenas, and several others when it comes to business. So now today, I want us to share some profound lessons we learned from number one, an eagle, number two, a lion, number three, a hyena, that are going to help us run our businesses and achieve our goals effectively. So you can tell me what you think, guys, in the comment. Please, I'll be happy if you can participate. I come here because of you. If not for you, I wouldn't be here. Your support is quite amazing. Every comment, every share, every reaction means a lot to me. Thank you very much if you've shared and if you've commented and things like that. So guys, I start by bringing to you the life of an eagle as a benchmark of hope. What you can learn from a bird is amazing. All right, so here I have an eagle in front of you guys. All right, that's the picture of an eagle. The eagle has been referred to more often than not as the king of the sky. All right, so the eagle is basically the king of the sky. All right, in my life, guys, I must tell you that one of the most inspirational animals I've ever read about in the bed of animal kingdoms, guys, is the eagle. The eagle is a bird of nature and is known for its strength and flying ability at high altitude. So it is the only bird that is able to fly at the highest altitudes. All right, it flies where there cannot be any other bird in this world. So the eagle is able to fly at a very, very high altitude. Right? Now, one thing that might interest you is that eagles fly alone. They fly at very high altitude, but they fly alone. So now, guys, I want to mention from when we were young, as teenagers, we always get to be taught to soar like an eagle. Parents would say, "Hem high." Teachers would say, "Hem high." Lecturers would say, "Hem high." Yeah, but it was just that easy, I have read lots of blogs, posts about eagles, practices, and thoughts that I would stress the things we should learn from it. Guys, eagles fly alone. If they're not alone, they're going to fly with their kinds. So that's one lesson I want us to learn here. We are saying that eagles fly alone or with their kind, their own kind. They never mix up with other species. So eagles are quite choosy. They fly alone. They don't mix up with other species. All right? So the question that I want to ask you is that why? It's because eagles understand that other birds cannot fly as high as they do. Right? But the eagles never fly low again to be with other birds. So there are two things here. Eagles fly alone to very high altitudes. And they never fly with other species, because they understand that other species cannot fly as high as them. But again, what's interesting that eagles are comfortable flying alone up in the skies. They don't stoop low to come and fly with other birds. So I want you to follow this very, very, very closely, guys. What is the lesson here? All right? What is the lesson? The lesson here is that don't change your attitudes to be matched with others. There are lots of people who've changed their good behaviors, but because they want to fit in a specific type of people, certain kind of people. So what do? You begin to change yourself because you feel like you're out of place. You want to fit in. Eagles understand that for you to succeed in business, or to succeed in life, you must embrace the value of authenticity. You must be authentic. You must be proud of being yourself. You must be okay being in your own skin. All right? Some people don't value themselves so much that they've decided to bleach their skins because they don't feel okay being dark. They don't feel okay being who they are. So they want to fit in. And then they begin to, bleach their skin just to look a certain way. Eagles don't do that. Eagles understand that other birds can't fly as high as they are. Eagles uphold higher levels of self-esteem. All right? So even you in your business, all right, in your personal life, if you're going to be a successful businessman, you should be okay being in your own skin. Be okay being yourself. Don't stoop so low so that you can just fit in. Associate with people who are at your level. If not at your level, people who are at least able to help you grow financially, people able to give you sound financial advice, people able to tell you that you are wrong, right? If you're always mingling with people who have lower standards than yourself, you are also going to have lower standards. So eagles understand that. That's why they always fly with their kind. They never stoop low to come and fly with other birds. So find people who think like you so that you can both dream and grow together. Don't waste your time with negative people. Eagles understand that. They never waste time with smaller birds. And don't share your dreams with just anybody who is not going to support you. So eagles understand that, you know what, we can't fit in with every other bird, because eagles not other birds are not going to do what, to support them. So they fly as a team. All right, that's how they survive. So guys, you've got to dream. So if you've got this dream, can you protect it? Can you just share it with people who have a similar dream like you, because they're going to help you? Because sometimes when you begin to share your dreams with people like, just people who won't even support you, they may end up breaking your dream for you. All right. So eagles understand that. They fly alone or with their kind. So if you want to grow, you're starting up a business, can you interact with like mindsets? Talk to them, share your ideas with them so that you can both share growth ideas. Don't just share your idea with just anybody. No. It is bad manners to begin to talk about yourself if you're not being asked. Right? That is lesson number 1. So we've learned about 2 things here from the way eagles fly alone. Number 1, don't change your attitude to be matched with others. All right. Number 2, we've learned that you have to associate with people who are at your level or people who can help you to grow. All right. That's one thing you must understand. But because eagles, even though they are quite high, they are flying at those higher altitudes. Eagles have an intensive vision and steady concentration when they are focusing on their prey. Now, imagine what would have happened if the eagles were able to tell smaller birds and say, you know what? Here where I am, I'm looking at that rabbit down there. I'm looking at that fish. I want to catch that fish. Other birds would ruin the plans of an eagle. So the eagles are going to be alone up in the sky. Even though they are so high in the sky, they're able to focus so much on their prey down. So how about you? How focused are you? Are you easily distracted? Because an eagle can be up thousands and thousands of miles away, but it will still be focused on its prey down there. Even in the waters, the deepest of waters, the eagle will be very much focused. How about you? When you set a goal, when you set those targets, do you ensure that you achieve them? How focused are you when it's coming to achieving your goals? So these are some of the things I would like us to look at when we think about the eagle. So what we are saying here is that when you are like an eagle, right, you can set your goals and focus on them till they are achieved. Things may change in the environment, goals may change, but the standards still remain the same for you to get where you want to be. You may want to change the plan, you may want to put other measures to get where you want to be, but the standards never. It's like God. When God created us, Adam and Eve sinned. What did God do? Did He say, "No, I'm going to kill people and make other ones"? No. He changed the plan. He sent His Son to come and die for us, so that the initial purpose may be achieved. So even when you set goals, do you ensure you do whatever you can to achieve those goals? Because the main thing is to focus. Right. So this is the lesson number 2 I want us to look at when we go to the next slide here. Value. Remember what we said earlier. We said eagles fly with their own kind, because eagles understand the value of being with like mindsets. They have protection when they are together. They are stronger together. All right. And they know that they are flying with like mindsets, people that have the similar goals, similar visions, because eagles see value in others. How about you? What kind of value do you see in other people? The ability to identify value in others and partner with them is very key to your success. So guys, it's important that if you are somebody who wants to make it in your life, can you partner with like minds like eagles do? Eagles only fly with their own kind, right? What are your kind? The type of people you mingle with are going to a much extent, are going to determine how successful you're going to become. So make sure that when you fly with people, you are flying with them because of the value they are bringing to the table. Right? Guys, let's just face it. There are only two things in this world. It's either you're using somebody or somebody is using you to succeed. So you have to make a choice. Either to use each other or to be used. Eagles understand the power of being together. They use each other's strength to attack even bigger prey. So you have to find people that you can work with, people that can help you achieve your goals. Don't just be found with anybody. When you begin to grow, the journey to growth is not easy. Some people begin to say you've changed. Yes, it's because you want to be found with people who have like mindsets like yourself. So those other people are not adding value to your progress. They begin to think you've changed. It's okay. Tell them, yes, I've changed. You should also change. Change is good for growth. That's what eagles do. They value others. So you should be able to see value in other people who are like-minded like yourself. All right, so we can go to the other one. Eagles are very much focused. Eagles hunt. Now, this is a very important point I want us to discuss here. Eagles hunt. Eagles eat their prey fresh. Eagles don't eat dead meat. No, they don't. Eagles, whatever eagles eat, they've worked for it. Whatever eagles eat, they've hunted it on their own. They never do what the hyena does. Moving along the lions and trying to eat leftovers from the lions. No, eagles hunt for themselves. As a business person, you have to understand that success is solely dependent upon you. Success is about you and not anybody else. So you have to ask yourself a question: who do you depend on for survival? Who do you depend on for your business growth? Who do you depend on for your financial support in your business? Because ego say, you know what? I'm going to hunt. So if you have this mentality of always being the one asking for money, asking for talk time, complaining about other people that have changed, it will be twice as hard for you to make it. Imitate the life of an ego. And ego says, you know what? I'm not going to sit down and start asking from young ones or others. I'm going to go and hunt, because egos take it upon themselves to improve their lives. All right? So have the ability to be able to stand on your own. Focus on your goals and give it your effort. Eagles are eating only fresh meat. They don't eat dead animals which were killed by other animals. No, they don't. Eagles don't depend on others, and they are self-dependent. They don't depend on other species for survival. So if you have some people that you depend on financially, that you have to begin to ask yourselves, what would happen to you if this person you depend on so much died? What would your life be like? Are you comfortable always depending on other people for growth? Always asking for rentals, always asking for money, always asking for talk time, everything. Are you okay with that kind of life? That life is stressful. That life will make you lose respect. That life will not give you a peace of mind, because you always be the one stressing. So what is it that you have within yourself that can help you generate some income for yourself, so that you can become self-sufficient, so that you can stand on your own? When you stand on your own, you earn respect. Nobody's going to come to your house and begin to insult you. But when you're being kept, man, you're in trouble. They can say you're a thief. You don't know how to eat, how to chew food. They can accuse you of anything dongalistic. You have no say because you're being kept. But when you're standing on your own, nobody's going to come to your house and say you don't know how to chew. So what skills do you have that can benefit you, so that you can fend for yourself? You can eat and be able to earn a living on your own. This is the time to begin to identify those kind of skills and develop them. Eagles hunt. How about you? Do you hunt? The things you are enjoying right now, are you the one who worked for them or someone else worked for them? The things you have right now, did you work for them? Or is somebody else? You have to answer that question. And how you answer that question is a reflection of what your life is going to be in the next few years. Start working for yourself, earning things for yourself, collaborate with others so that you can stand on your own. Don't depend on others so much because you'll be disappointed. So that's another lesson I wanted you to understand. Don't depend on others, guys. Make it your own character. Do you know eagles love the storm? Did you know that? Eagles love the storm. And the reason why eagles love the storm here, guys, is because when a storm comes, it will lift them above crowds and they can rest their wings and become stronger. Right? Now, as humans, we also should welcome all the challenges without avoiding them, because challenges bring lots of opportunities to learn new skills, grow, and get stronger. Right? That's not too easy, guys, but we have to learn how to do that on our own. We have to learn to survive on our own. But if you think about storms, when I say eagles love storms, I'm talking about challenges. Eagles love challenges. Look at this eagle on your screen. It's flying above the crowds. All right? Do not think for a moment that it's very comfortable. It's not comfortable because down there things are happening. Not long ago, where the storm called Anna and Storm Eunice, those storms killed thousands and thousands of birds and animals. Sometimes storms take hours to pass. All right? So an eagle would be flying up above the skies for hours. An eagle would be tired, but it knows what, I'm going to hold on to hope. The storm will be over soon. I'm going to get back to safety. I'm going to fly down and enjoy myself. But for now, let me hang around up here in the sky. So the eagle will be flying for hours without coming down, just waiting for the storm to be over. That can be very stressful. Sometimes an eagle would even want to give up, but it keeps on fighting and fighting and fighting up until the storm is over. Then the eagle can fly down and begin to enjoy itself. So how about you? When you have problems, what is your response? What is your attitude to tough times? People with a very bad attitude to tough times kill themselves even just for a simple 5,000 quarter they owe somebody. They want to kill themselves. The landlord tells you have to move out of the house because you've not paid the rent. What do? You want to kill yourself. Why? Because they have a very terrible attitude to tough times. Eagles have a very positive attitude to tough times. They see tough times as an opportunity to learn. As a business person, you have to understand that business is not for the faint of heart. Guys, being an entrepreneur is a serious walk with God. It's not easy to stand on your own and do business and pay all the bills on your own. It's not easy, guys. It's not for the faint of heart. This is why I've always said, and I'm not changing my statement, the entrepreneurship is not for everyone, because it's not for the faint of heart. It's a serious walk with God. There are serious losses. There are lots of stress, lots of headaches, disappointments. But what makes an entrepreneur stronger is their ability to handle pressure, their ability to face challenges and tough times is what makes a difference, because entrepreneurs are very hopeful people. They live on hope. They hope, you know what, it's going to be okay. I may make losses here, but you know what? It's going to be fine. I'm going to be okay. That's what entrepreneurs do. So guys, you have to understand that being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. It's a serious walk with God. So when things are tough, what do? Do you quit? Do you cry over spilled milk? Do you want to commit suicide? I encourage you to imitate the eagles. Eagles look at tough times as opportunities to learn. Accept every challenge which comes into your life. Now, before entering into a commitment, also eagles have something that they do. All right. This is one thing I like about eagles. Eagles respect the value that others bring to the table. Eagles respect themselves. Eagles don't enter into a relationship without a due diligence. It's the same thing for you, an entrepreneur, a business person. Before you can partner with someone else, please do your due diligence. You don't know this person. Even though you know them, can you try and find out a little bit about what is their behavior when it comes to money? How do they spend their money? Who are their friends? What are their investment ideas? What are their strategic plans? Find out about this person before you partner with them in business. Eagles have something very interesting. All right, they accept every challenge which comes into their lives and they fight it. But one thing they do before entering into a commitment is that the male bird, the eagle, tests the commitment levels of a female bird. Eagles don't just go for female bird and say, you know what, this is the female bird is available, so I need, I'm going to hammer. No, they don't do that. they do a commitment test. And also the female bird also tests the commitment levels of the male bird, the eagle. Now, eagles know very well than us when they are getting into a commitment. They know, they are 100% sure this is the right partner to have eaglets with. So we as people, if birds can have such kind of a tough time, no, eagles play a stand game, all right? A female bird will play a stand game to test the commitment of the male bird for a very long time, not for takes time up until the male bird passes that particular test. And then the male bird also does the test on the female bird to see the commitment levels. Up until both the birds are satisfied that this is going to be a fantastic relationship, then they get together. Eagles don't just get together in a day like some people do. They don't do that because they understand that a partner is a very important financial transaction. Guys, if you're going to enter into a business relationship, even just a marriage, you have to treat that as one of the most important financial transactions you ever take in your life. Ask all successful people, they will tell you that marriage is one of the biggest important financial transactions. So imitate eagles, all right? Eagles are testing for commitment. How about us, the human beings? So we also should be wise enough to figure out the commitment of people who we are going to enter into a business relationship with, or into just a relationship. Guys, is so much important in our personal life as well, and professional lives as well. When we are establishing relationships, it's important to identify people that are committed, people that are going to help to be with us even when things are hard. Because if you don't do due diligence, some people say, you know what, everyone has a past. It's their past, it's my past. But no, this is a real life you're getting into. The past is important because the past may affect your future. There are some things we've done in the past that keep coming back into our future. It's hard, guys, to erase the past. We say don't live on the past, but the past has a bearing on your future. So the female bird, the eagle, and the male bird, the eagle, they test each other's commitment. So you, the businessman who wants to grow, the business that wants to grow, can you test the commitment of people who want to partner with you in that business, so that you have, similar goals, certain common standards. That way, it's going to be easier for you to grow your business and see it grow to greater heights. All right, that's one thing I wanted to bring to your attention. All right. So, how about you? How do you choose your partners? Ask yourself from the previous year, the people that you've been with, either in a personal relationship or professional relationship, or just friends. How did you choose them? Did you just wake up because they said they like you, started talking, and then you are close? What did you look for before you became close to this person? What do you look for? If you just fall in love with anybody because they like you, or you become friends with somebody because they are close to you, they want to be friends with you, you should know you have some work to do. All right? Because it's not a good thing. All right? It's not a very good thing to do. All right, guys. So now let's go to another issue here. The other issue I want us to talk about is the comfort zone. Guys, this is a very important lesson that eagles have so many lessons to help us understand life, but also help us understand the business. Eagles understand the value of learning. Eagles teach their young ones. They teach them survival skills at a very young age. So how about you? What do you teach your kids? What do you teach your young ones? It's a very important question you must answer. What do you teach your young ones? Now, I'm gonna give you a very simple example. But because when eagles, right, the mother eagle prepares the nest for eggs very carefully. And here's what she does. She starts to remove. Here's what she does. The mother eagle is going to prepare the nest in such that it's going to be very comfortable. But what does she do? She puts stones, right? The mother eagle puts stones, minga, into the nest when it's preparing those stones, that nest. So the nest becomes very comfortable. But at the later stage, the eagle, when it has those eaglets, it will start to remove the comfort layers from the nest by exposing the sticks and of course the pricks when the time arrives for the eaglets to learn how to fly. So the mother eagle now throws eaglets from the nest till they learn how to fly. Now this seems to be a very hardest process, but that's how they train their children how to overcome their challenges. Now here's the issue, guys. When an eagle makes its nest, it begins by getting the thorns, all right? It puts the thorns, and then it begins to put comfortable layers, comfortable layers, comfortable layers. So when the ego finally has egrets, at a certain time, the ego begins to remove those comfortable layers from the nest, slowly, slowly, up until it leaves only sticks and pricks, those thorns. Now, when eaglets are on thorns, they are being pricked every now and then. They can't stay there. So they only have one choice, to fly out of that nest, because it's no longer comfortable. That's what eagles do. They prepare their eaglets on the right time to fly. So when I was reading about this and I was researching about it, I was very much interested. But at what point does the ego become aware that now at this time is the time to do what? To remove the comfortable layers out of my nest so that the eaglets can fly. Now, the ego is very observant. Even you, as a business person, you must understand that the business is like your child. You must be observant. You should be able to know at what point to diversify. Don't just diversify, right? You should know exactly at what point you need to diversify. Eagles know exactly at what point they need to remove their eaglets out of the nest. Right? So sometimes, if you look at the process, the thorns are pricking the eaglets, you may think this is very heartless, but that's the way it is. But even interesting, when the ego notices that the eaglets are not flying out of the nest, what it does? It goes physically to pull them out of the nest and they throw them down. So when the eaglets begin to fall down, before they hit the ground, they become scared that they are forced to spread their wings and off they fly. That's what happens. So it's a good thing for you as a business person. Can you mentor the people you work with so that when you are not there, things can run? Eagles train their eaglets to survive and fend for themselves. How about you? Do you empower the people you work with? What do you teach your children or your employees? If you got sick today, can your employees be able to bring revenue in the business the same way you do it when you're there? Can your children stand on their own if you die today? What skills have you taught your children? So that even if you are to die, they'll say, what? I'm going to die a happy man because my children are safe. I've worked hard. I've taught them life-saving skills. And yes, I can rest. What have you taught your children? So you must understand as a business person the value of teaching your children to survive on their own. This is also going to help you reduce stress of paying for school fees, because if they can go to make money on their own, some of the expenses are going to be less reduced on you. So be like an ego. Look at your business like your child. Every person who comes to a business, treat them as a silent partner. They should be there because of the value they are adding, not because you feel sorry for them, but because you need them to add value that particular business. All right. So those are some of the things that we can learn from the life of an ego. So egos understand the importance of moving out of the comfort zone. So you move out from your comfort zone and live your real life. All right. Some people are so dependent on that uncle is doing fine, that auntie is doing fine, that brother. That's why they don't grow. Because when you are living with somebody who's doing fine, all right, you're not growing. It's them who are doing fine, not you. So become uncomfortable being fed. It will help you to stand on your own. Because the person you're living with is comfortable. They've made their life already. How about you? One day you're going to need to get married or you need to marry. What will your life look like? So imitate the ego and leave your comfort zone. It's okay to stand on your own, because it will be an opportunity for you to learn how to survive. All right? To learn how to make money, to learn how to grow your business. So leave that particular comfort zone. Now, there's something interesting that I found out about an ego, and this really got me. It's a thing called the rebirth process of an ego. Now, guys, when an ego is on its own, it has a lifespan of up to 20, all right, to 30 years. So the ego can live between 20 to 30 years when it's on its own, all right? But when the ego is being caged, it can live all the way up to 70 years. But to reach this age, the ego has to make a painful decision at the age of 40. right? The ego can go up to 70 years. So it can be between 20 to 40, 30, 40 years there. But it can also live up to 70 years. But that depends upon the decision it's going to make when it's 40 years old. So what decision does the ego make at the age of 40? The ego has to make a decision which is called a rebirth process, right? Because at the age of 40, the ego can no longer fly as high as it used to because now it's grown old. It can no longer capture its prey. Remember, I just showed you a slide which depicted an ego, lifting an animal up in the sky because it's quite young at this age. It has the strength, so it can hunt, it can kill, it can protect itself. But when the ego grows, reaches the age of 40, it has to make a decision either to die or to live for the next 30 years. But the next 30 years is dependent upon this single decision the ego has to make. So what decision does the ego make for it to be able to live for the next 30 years? It has to go through a very painful process, which is called the rebirth process. Now, here, guys, as you know, that the ego's flexible talons, which we call the claws, right? When it's about 40 years old, become weak, right? Its beak is weak. It can't tear its prey. It can't, everything about the ego is a bit to fly up in the sky is reduced. So the ego cannot survive without its beak. It cannot survive without its claws. It cannot survive without its feathers because it needs these three things to hunt. So what does the ego do to live for the next 30 years? Guys, when the ego gets old, like I said, wings become heavy because of thick feathers and they get stuck in their chest, they can't fly. So the ego has two options, like I said, to die or to go through this painful process for how many days? For at least 150 days. Now, 150 days, guys, about 5 months. So the ego has got to go through a very painful process for about 5 months. All right? Now, what the ego does, the ego goes to the mountain, all right? It goes to a mountainous region, and then it begins to remove its beak, remove its feathers, remove its claws. Now, what it does, the ego starts by removing its beak. It begins by hitting the beak on the rock. Hitting its beak on the rock up until the beak breaks. All right? When the beak breaks, the ego can no longer bite. All right? Because the ego's strength is in its ability to be able to tear apart its prey through using its beak. So it begins to hit its beak on the rock. That's a very painful process to remove the old, weak beak. All right? So that it can be able to live for another 30 years. Now, imagine, guys, if somebody got a pliers and started uprooting your nails, just your nails, not even your teeth, just your nails. Imagine how painful that must have been. Now, think about somebody getting a pliers and begin to uproot your teeth. Think about the pain just of a toothache. Now, imagine somebody uprooting your teeth with a pliers. That's the exact pain that the ego goes through when it's breaking its beak. It hits on the rock, continuous hitting on the rock up until the beak breaks. When the beak breaks, the ego has to stay for months to wait for the beak to begin to grow. Because what the ego does, once the beak grows, then what does it do? It now begins to remove its claws, because it wants now to remove the claws so that it can be able to attack with the beak. So if the beak is removed, the ego has got to stay in those mountains alone. It has to hide because it's vulnerable at this point. It has no strength to bite. The beak is gone, so it has to hide. It has to be in hiding. So what the ego does, leaves its claws, and that's just in case something comes, it can go to attack a bit and fly a bit. But once the beak grows back after some months, what does the ego do? The ego now removes its beak, its claws, its sharp talons, the claws. It begins to uproot them also, to remove them. So that now if something came to attack, at least the beak has grown, it can bite and it can fly a bit. So once the claws have grown back, Now the ego has both the beak and its sharp talons and the claws. What does the ego do? The ego now begins to remove its feathers. It removes everything completely. It remains with nothing. It can't fly. All right. So that if now somebody came to attack it, now it has the beak and it has the talons to attack, to fight back. So after some months, exactly 5 or 6 months, now the beak, the feathers grow back, the talons, which are the claws, grow back, and the beak is grown back. What does the ego do? Now the ego can do what? The ego can now fly back to its usual environment. But one thing that I found interesting was the process and the way in which the ego takes to remove this thing. It begins by removing the beak. So it uses the claws to fight back. And then it goes to removing It goes to removing the claws. It goes to removing the claws. When the claws grow back, then it can now remove the feathers. Why? Because it's strategic. It understands risks very well. It does not become overly confident. It waits. So even you, when you want to quit your job, what do? Do you just wake up and quit your job without a backup plan? No, the ego has a backup plan. No, if somebody was to attack it, at least to have the claws to fight back, or the beak to fight back, or both. So you must be able to be strategic if you're going to be a successful businessman. At what point do you diversify? And how do you diversify? If you are running a business and you're in employment, at what point do you resign? And how do you resign? Why are you resigning? The ego has all those things thought out. Right? That's one thing, guys, that you must understand. So this is a very painful process. But when the ego finally gets back after 5 months, do you know what that 5 months gives the ego? That 5 months of pain is going to give the ego 30 more years to live. So the ego now can live up to 70 years. After that 5 months in pain, how about you? You have to understand the power of sacrifice. You cannot grow your business if you're not willing to sacrifice anything. Be willing to sacrifice. To grow your business requires sacrifice, either money, energy, and several other resources, skills, sometimes the creation. People are watching football right now. Some of you are here, you are listening to what I'm saying. That's a very good way of sacrificing for a better future, because you're getting knowledge that's going to help you. So, I would love to be at some place also and watch some football sometimes, but it's not all the time I have time to watch football. I don't watch football. Only when I have a chance. I'm not saying football is bad, but I'm saying that if you are going to grow your business, you must understand there's some things you love to do that you won't be able to do because you have to sacrifice time to be at your business. You have to sacrifice time to be with your friends, enjoying, dancing, drinking, so that you can focus on your business and grow your business. That's one thing that I've done. So it's important, guys, that if you are seeking financial growth, you learn from the life of an ego. All right. Now, there's something here that I would like to show you as we conclude. One final thing I want you to see is now here. After the ego is now done with the rebirth process, see what it looks like? It now looks okay. The ego can now fly back to safety. It can now soar high. It can go in the skies. All right. So the ego now is now soaring here now. All right. So ego now it cannot even choose its space. How about you? Do you choose your space? Do you just settle for anything that looks like money? Because if you don't want to take responsibility of your life, you'll be settling for anything. Right? Anything that comes your way, you take it because you have no options. What financial freedom does, it gives you options. It also gives you the ability to say no. All right? So how about you? All right? What do you do? Do you have the ability to say no? Do you choose your space for yourself, or you are chosen for you? Even food. Some people, because of being so dependent, you can't eat what you want. You settle for anything because you have no choice. You have nothing. You can't provide for yourself. So learn from an ego and begin to soar high, aim high, and work hard to reach those greater heights. So the life of an ego is such an inspirational one. As a business person, don't just settle for any deal. No. Be able to analyze deals. See, is this really a good deal for me to go with? What do I stand to lose? What are the benefits? Analyze the deal before you sign. You don't just sign because they've told there will be money. No. Your business is like your child. All right? That's one thing you must understand. So, guys, I have come to a conclusion. And you know what? In order for you to succeed as a business person, there will be hard decisions that you're going to make. All right? You have to change your mindset, because I strongly believe that if we can change the way we think, then yes, we can change the way we live. What's your view of change? What do you think of change? What is change to you? The ego has a very good attitude to change. It has to change itself. It has to rebirth. It has to remove its beak. It has to go through a terrible process. Sometimes you make losses. Sometimes you're going to be forced to stop doing what you love, what's going to benefit you. All right? The ego is able to give away its beak, its claws, and its feathers for the greater good of it to be able to live for the next 30 years. How about what are we willing to sacrifice? So if we can change our mindsets, right, and begin to believe in our abilities to grow, to stand on our own, to begin to fend for ourselves, our lives can really change for the better. So become uncomfortable being kept. Become uncomfortable being the one asking for money all the time. Become uncomfortable all the time being the one complaining. Begin to stand on your own. Remember, we said the ego does not eat dead prey. It eats its prey fresh. That's one thing we have learned. So it's all about your decisions. It's all about you. Make the choice now to learn from the ego. Change your life and be happy. All right? So this is something that I thought we should discuss. In our next episode, I'm going to bring for you the lessons we can learn from the lion, which is the king of the jungle. But for today, I was very much happy to bring to you lessons we can learn from the life of an ego. It's my sincere hope that this session has helped you somehow to see areas where you can grow your business, the do's and the don'ts, and the value of hope. So if you look at the life of an ego, guys, it's one that tells us that, you know what, hope is a beautiful thing. If we hope for better, it will help us to do something about that which we hope for. Hope is a beautiful thing, guys. All right? So the life of an ego is one that gives us hope that it's better is possible. If we only worked hard and remained true to our dreams, that which we desire, we can succeed. All of us have equal opportunity to succeed. We can make it, we can grow, and we can be better. No amount of witchcraft will bring you down. God is there. If you knew the people that have done some witchcraft, even in my life, the people that I trusted, they have confessed on their own doing witchcraft on me. All right. I lived with some people. For some reason, they became disappointed in the way I've turned out to be. And out of jealousy, they've been using witchcraft on me. They confessed on their own. I never asked them. They've been pointing fingers at each other on their own. So no amount of witchcraft is going to bring you down if you just remain true to yourself, work hard, and pray that God sees you through. Being successful is not for the faint of heart. It's a lot. You will be fought by the people who should care. They will fight you. They want to bring you down. Your closest, those uncles you see, those aunties and some of the relatives, they will really use juju on you. I've seen that in my life. The people should care using juju against me. It's not easy to be a business person. But remain true. Pray to God and always hope for the better. Say good things in your life. No amount of juju will be able to defeat you if you remain true and look up to God for help. Because being in business, guys, being an entrepreneur is a serious work with God. It's not for the faint of heart. It requires a lot of faith to be a business person. So guys, thank you very much for your time to be here. Let me see a few comments. So yes, there we go. Okay, thank you for being with us, Thaisa. Always seeing you here. Harriet, all right. Harriet is here. Harriet Tembo, fantastic. It's good to see you, Harriet. From the time I started watching your YouTube videos, it has helped me. I think I am ready to sit for my financial reporting. Thank you. All right, I'm happy to hear that. All the best in your exams. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mr. Sandy says, you have changed. Yes, I have. You should too. I am taking this phrase. Eagles don't eat dead animals. Yes. They eat prey which they killed on their own. Yeah. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me. Like I said, if you want some sponsorship in any course, give me. If you've been on this live the whole time, like Harriet, I think I've seen you on this live. Send for me a message and tell me if at all you want any paper to be helped. I'll give you some sponsorship in your next course. Thank you very much, guys. Those of you who've joined me here, I've been seeing your participation, and I'll be happy to extend that sponsorship to you. Thank you so very much, guys. I wish you well. I wish you God's blessings, and I want to leave you with this statement here. Where it says, you are not free until you are financially free. There's a very nice statement I would like you to see here, guys. I would like to leave you with that. Okay? You are not free, guys, until you are financially free. Remember that. You are not free until you are financially free. Thank you very much, guys. Have a fantastic day, and bye-bye.